this protein bread has to have so many calories in it? I don't even want to know.
Is it called protein bread?
Parva bread?
Sounds like the dog illness parvo.
It's kosher. It's Jew friendly. You know, the Jews are not really good athletes, so I don't know why they need protein bread.
What's the protein in it?
What type? Oh, that's a good question. Like Jew,
I don't think
Jew
that's
protein or something.
And I think we both know that I wouldn't know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Deplorables with Attitude. I'm your host, Ben. I'm here with Sarah, as per usual, and her dog, the
Wonder Bubby.
Yeah, the Wonder Bubby. I think that Wonder Bread, which you called all my friends because they're apparently white and bland.
I call my white
That's a hate
friends
crime.
Wonder Bread.
You know,
you all just have to accept it.
You're gearing up for when censorship on Twitter comes off with Elon Musk taking over, and you can just talk shit about white people more often and be like, hey, it's equal.
I just think Wonder Bread is such a funny, for me, it means classic white guy. It's like a 50s.
If I were to say classic black guy, I would have a broken nose within 5 seconds.
Well, I'm glad you didn't break my nose.
I would have a broken nose.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like, it sounds not good. It's like, oh, white. So your dad's a lawyer. Oh, so your mom like modeled and was like head of the cheerleading team and gave blowjobs to all the hot guys at school. So you had a coke problem when you were at prep school and you almost just got kicked out, but then your grandfather came in and gave a huge endowment so you didn't have to get kicked out. Oh, so you had an in at Harvard, Yale, Princeton, but you went to Georgetown because your mom was sick and dying of cancer, so you went there. Oh, but first you went to Oxford because you just thought that was like the best option because it's the best school in the entire world, and then you transferred to Georgetown because your mom was dying and you decided to be close to her. Yeah, white Wonder Bread.
If you think that's a summation of your entire, and let's just say that, get the record straight, that lawyer bread would probably be your protein kosher loaf that you were eating. That's lawyer bread.
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah. I do think though it does make me feel like I don't know. I feel like there's people in this country, there's like some force that wants to impose like the Chinese version of like the world where private corporations and government are kind of like intermixed and it's not really clear what's private and what's real. And like there seems to be this overwhelming force to kind of encourage people to be less than, to like embrace mediocrity in the United States, almost like so that they don't have a chance of becoming an Elon Musk, like the next generation, or they're almost like being engineered socially, like a terraform to being lazy and embrace mediocrity so that they can then cast down those ideals onto their children and their spawn will not be able to break and rise up against the status quo or the powers that be. It's like it's almost like an indentured servitude setup, and it almost to the point where the Chinese model is so ideal. The James Burnham idea of like a collectivist group of kind of, I don't know, this is the Machiavellians, like those with power and those with not, the slaves and those who are enslaved, or the enslaved and those who are the masters. Mm-hmm. Not, that model's like, well, we'd rather let China win and have a huge group of people in the United States that are subsidized and depend on our government that are like subservient than run the risk of losing people to like entrepreneurial power and like the idea of hard work and prosperity. The push to like condemn rich as being bad and like capitalism as being evil seems to have been a long winding road towards something that's a bit darker.
Yeah, I mean, I think that not even the push for capitalism, and I know that you get very impassioned by this, but I think that it's more of like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think that it's more like there's a loss of like innovation all around that comes from like true innovation. There's like some sort of stripped thing on either way the pendulum swings of like being extremely well off and being extremely poor, where you have to work really hard either way to make that work, but like nobody's like championing these really innovative things anymore, which I think is the model of like what you're talking about with the Chinese and Machiavelli. And
they work. Like we're embracing a culture where people like are like embrace not working. We're figuring out how to work less.
Yeah.
Like we're embracing like Simone Biles and like Naomi Osaka. We're embracing this like be less than, like feelings over like everything, like your mental health, and not really for like good reasons, but there's nefarious actors, like so that you become a client to like an e-health psychiatrist and doctor online. Like that's like the thing is like, oh well, we're trying to help you. No, we're trying to make money off you. You just don't realize it. Like it's not actually to help you.
There's a different. I think that there's a very like
why would they
cold
be
metal
altruistic?
sense of work for you, but where I'm talking about like I don't know, like it depends, I guess, on the work that you want to put in. But even if you want to just sit and work on, but truly work at like a book or writing, oh, Jesus, or you know, like I would like playing a piano or like just cultivating something, which I think is just lost on certain people. It's something that I notice is getting more and more.
No, I think people are embracing that more. I think people are embracing the arts more, but the reality is that 99% of art is garbage. And that here's the danger. Most of the art world requires patronage, requires donation, because it's not monetizable. And so the fact that so many more people are going into their hobbies and like working less and they're not very good at it means that the industry of endowment to that end to help support them isn't big enough. Yeah. And it's almost creating a subclass of people. Like, what if we worked 3 hours, like 3 days a week? It's like, it's like, who's pushing this stuff? Or this other thing, this funny thing I saw on like Harvard, like PSYOP article about how it was like the kids are not okay or something was the title on the New York Times, talking about how the pandemic has affected kids coming back to school. Like they're not like doing Zoom classes, like a hybrid model isn't working in terms of learning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this seems like a giant psyop to justify how expensive tuition is. So many people during the pandemic said, hey, Harvard, why don't you, Georgetown, my alma mater, anyone, these schools that are upwards of 60, 70,000 a year, 80, why 100? Well, why don't you cut your fees, since the whole like campus life thing that people value so much, kind of like in a intangible sense, like that's part of the tuition.
Yeah.
It's not there. And the kids are, getting credits anyway. Why don't you cut your tuition in half? Like Georgetown's a gorgeous city. The kids can't go there. They're stuck at home in their room when they could do something like get a class for, a degree for like $5,000 from, what are those, like DeVry University online? Like it just says Harvard, but like they didn't get to be in Cambridge, Mass. They didn't get to go to like Fire and Ice around the corner. They didn't get to go to, like whatever, like be on the quad and like do all this, like go to the Kennedy School and like sleep in John F. Kennedy's like dorm room or something, like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Do all the little things. They didn't get to do any of that shit. Or the Baker Library, Baker School, all that shit. They didn't get to do any of that. And it's like, how do you justify that, the tuition, when they're not experiencing that life? And the article was kind of like that. It was like, we need the kids back on campus. I think because the endowment is, in a sense, it's like what I'm talking about, these items of like the good of the community, the good of society, or progress being regressive. Like, in other words, we need to less work, more like health, more support, is designed to enslave and manipulate people for the sake of making them a subsidized commodity for businesses and capitalism. That article was written so that Harvard could justify their endowment fund and have more money and make sure that they're getting the right amount of money from people. In other words, that the tuition costs are going to help support their endowment, because currently there's an uproar. That article is designed to say, hey, fuck the hybrid thing, fuck Zoom. Let's get the kids back on campus so we can justify our $80,000 a year tuition. That's the manipulation. Like saying, oh, we care about your health, we care about your rights in this, and look at the oppression here. You're a victim. This whole thing is like actually designed to like destroy people's ability to compete in the real world.
Yeah. And I've seen it a lot just doing the work that I do, where nothing, which is, a healthcare essentially, but it's not, nobody's very truly concerned about like preventative measures. Like,
no, they want you to be sick.
It's just a perpetually like gross machine of like, and wheel of just like,
hey, are you depressed at school? Maybe you're trans. Let's really set you up to be subsidized by keeping you on meds for the rest of your life, hormone medication. Like these delusions, like it may seem ridiculous to say that are anti or LGBTQ, but it's not necessarily. It's not necessarily. Like, there's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of like third party powers that benefit from like people becoming basket cases.
Yeah.
Like where they can't help themselves.
Right.
Like,
and that's
I don't know what you want to call it, but it's true. Like, you become like dependent on the government for everything. It makes whoever runs Capitol Hill and the government more and more powerful. To say that the government is completely unbiased and that it just cares about democracy and the Constitution is absolute nonsense.
Yeah. It definitely cares about the crippling of, everything that we just discussed. And
that was what I was thinking about on my walk today with your dog. That's just that stuff. Just like walking, the world's just getting destroyed. I saw some kids playing soccer. I'm like, they used to be better at soccer and they're not. They look more incompetent with the ball. They're staring at the reason why I think the HB
Are you
tour.
Sure it wasn't the middle-aged Hispanic men
young
that I
kids,
always think
young kids that looked like they were special needs or special education kids, and they were just normal, quote unquote, healthy young men. But the reality is that they're focused on their phones.
Yeah.
They're more focused on like, oh, Tinder, left, right. Oh, who texted me? Or look at my Instagram. Should I kill myself tonight because Sarah said something about the way I did my hair today at school? Like that type of shit. No, I'm serious. Like that type of shit is like the progress of technology is regressive in many senses. It's killing kids. Like one of the reasons I think the ATP tour is like the reason why 40-year-old Federer and Nadal can still play tennis is not a talent issue as much, because usually it's the cases that the less talented people that are younger still beat the top guys.
Yeah.
These young kids, I think the technology has hurt like the game in terms of like talent. Like tennis requires a lot of like long-term like setting up points and like less immediate gratification.
Yeah.
And you have a guy like Andrei Rublev, who, by the way, who's a Russian, who's not allowed to play at Wimbledon, which I think is disgusting. But that's besides the point. He just hits the ball as hard as he can every single time. It's like, I'm gonna win every point. So it's like this is gonna be that's the epitome of a TikToker. Yeah. It's just like boom, boom, boom. 15-second video. Is it funny? I don't care. I'm just gonna do it. Whatever. Could this keep me from getting a job when I become an adult? It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna put it on the internet and boom, upload. Oh, it's insane. Yeah. And I was walking the dog and I saw this woman. This was weird. But like, I walk the dog because you don't walk the dog, and
I have been very busy.
I don't want the dog to get fat because no food tastes as good as skinny feels. Now we all know that. But I saw this woman. This was 98 degrees today. It was very, very hot, and I saw this woman wearing a surgical mask. Walking her dog with no one around her. I saw her coming up the street maybe a half mile away. And then I noticed that she was wearing a mask. That's how far away. She was wearing the mask the whole time. I stared at this woman walking her dog, and then she took it off. I stared at her, and that was from across the street. There was enough peer pressure of me by my lonesome.
Are you sure it's not the whole 6'6"?
No, I'm walking a dog. You don't worry about rape during the middle of the day.
Maybe she was mouthing something to you from across the way.
No, she felt enough peer pressure, how ridiculous it was for her. Like, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? If you're virtue signaling, but there's no one around to like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It doesn't work. So she's just like, all right, you're right. This fucking hot as shit. And she took my peer pressure from across the street was enough for her to take off her mask. The same peer pressure that was a year and a half ago that saw everyone wearing masks and forced her to put one on. Mine was enough to just have her take it off. It was unreal. I swear it was all because of the way I looked at her like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what my look was. And she's like, you're right. And that was that.
Well, that's good. I mean, it had to be like a hot box sauna in that mouth. I remember, do you remember like getting like in Texas, it gets so hot. And when
with
you
humidity.
had to wear a mask, like I would break out.
I didn't wear a mask. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I didn't wear a mask. I didn't give a shit.
Well, I could see that coming from you.
I had a guy. I told this in podcast like months ago. A guy at the grocery store was like, "Wear a mask." Like this random guy was like running away from me with his cards, like, "Wear a mask," and I'm like, and I got so angry at him. He's like, because he like cussed me. He's like, "Wear a fucking mask, you something." And I was like, "Where's your wife? Where is your?" And then I started walking after. Where is she? She's something about like sleeping with. I said something about like I'm going to. She and I are having an affair, and we don't wear masks, and we need you to know. I said something random, but I was like really like angry that this guy was like he running away from me anyway. I don't remember what I said, but it was something about like, you're cuck and I'm sleeping with your wife and we don't wear masks and we laugh at you that you wear one. And I was just I got really angry. And that was my way of being passive aggressive and kind of like a little over the top because it was in public. There were probably children around and I was at a grocery store. And he was calling me out for not wearing a mask. I ran him down and he's like, "Stay away from me." He was running with his cart. He's like, yeah. I was like, I wonder if he was a plant to get people from the government, because he was like, "Are you real?" He had nothing in his cart, and he was at the back of the aisle by the milk. Who gets to the back aisle by the milk with a giant cart? The big ones, not the small ones for single people. Yeah. And he didn't have anything in it. That sounds like a psyop to me. He's a plant to get people like me to feel insecure. But how can I feel insecure? I'm 6'6", by myself, 220 pounds in the grocery store without a mask on, and that didn't bother me. Why would you bother me, sir? Because you're using swear words?
Right. I mean, yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think I ever, when everything first began, I wore masks. I wore a mask for a while mainly because I'm a singer and to get something that affected my lungs, it bore into my neuroses and I didn't want to get that. Because I just feel like I'll get like a fluke thing that like nobody's ever gotten with it. Like, ma'am, one of your lungs has grown like a head and now you can only breathe halfway. And the other part of you, like I'll breathe like, and then coming out like inhale, right?
You could grow a head in your lung. Don't you think like the mask was going to protect it? I respect the mask. It's just,
yeah. I mean, I've seen some people like it's especially around by where I work.
My friend still wears one. He wears it every day.
Which Wonder Bread is that? Which slice are we talking?
One of the Wonder Bread people. Someone in my crew, the new boy band Wonder Bread that we're in. Ron Perlman,
just the visual
in
my mind,
all of us behind the scenes and like prodding us to like, yeah, boy, yeah, you like that? You're gonna be. Once he said to me behind the stage, like, "You're gonna be good to me, sugar, aren't you?" I'm like, yeah. And my solo was better that night, so I guess it's like it gives me some like positive energy.
If you're friends or anything, like I just have to laugh at it because I grew up with like these gigantic African American men in my life. And so if I meet a guy who's really white and has had this really white upbringing, I just have to point it out because it's so different from...
I counter. I wish that I could say I met this guy who was really black and had this really black upbringing and not have my life destroyed. If you were to do it that way.
You had a story at one time about your very first friend. I think, did we talk about it on here?
My very first friend in pre-K was black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mom, for Christmas, it was like he was at a pre-K with me, and he was very poor. Yeah. And my mom wanted to make sure that he had a good Christmas. So every single gift that I got, my mom got him. And that's she left it with it, like surprised her, did it like without her mom, like the parent knowing. Yeah. So that when he came back to school, he could say, I could be like, I got Cyber Squad. He's like, I got Cyber Squad. He's like, I got White Ranger. Because I really like flexible action figures. And those Power Rangers were like kind of like a foot tall, and they're very flexible. You could bend them in all this type of ways, kind of like a gymnast. Yeah. If you're a pedophile, it'd be kind of it because it's like, sex with the toys. I don't know, bend them in all different ways. I don't know. But
I don't know what happened in that room of yours.
Yeah. But so the kids there's something about gymnasts, like the whole idea, like they're perpetually children because you make them work out at such a young age that they don't grow. And also the gymnasts would always get like teddy bears and shit, but they're like 19 years old after they do the flips and shit on the thing. I'm like, it's kind of weird. And they all kind of hug each other like they're a family, but it's like, you guys are like adults, but they're like miniature people. And because the growth plates have all been calcified over, and like Larry Nassar, and
this is like the adult men who play soccer at the elementary school. They're a test for my eyes too. Like I wait, and I'm like, okay, am I 20/20 vision? I can't tell you at kid or adult.
The men at the thing are nothing like the American gymnastics team that have basically just had their entire youth taken from them. All the young guys too. There's no straight guy that does gymnastics. They're all gay. But now they're guaranteed. They're not tops anymore. They could have been tops, but they're guaranteed to be bottoms because now they're like 5'5". They have huge muscles, but they look like Robin Williams. They're just calcified over. Like they're just small little midgets. They're all bottoms. Like Robin, that's hilarious. Maybe they don't even know that they're gay, but they will be gay because they did gymnastics. It's not always born that way. Sometimes it's gymnastics. But yeah, so. What were we talking about?
Sports. Man, have you ever seen, I think there was one friend growing up. My mom tried to throw us in things. I think it was just to not have to deal with us very much. But she would try all these extracurricular things with us and sports. And she tried to get me in everything. And my whole life, I've never been able to touch my toes. No matter little kid, whatever, it's an issue. And she tried to put me in gymnastics, and they tried to not force you, but they try and get you there by come on.
If you
and
really
I would be
wanted to, you could you would have done it. You probably
I was
probably had
little,
an
and I'm
anti-foot fetish.
I don't know if it's the way that my body's designed, but I would try so hard and be really it was sad. I remember being I can't do this, and everybody around me could. And I was still, to this day, I am maybe a foot above my feet. I can't do it, and I never could. And I've always been a foot off the ground. My
dad once wrestled with me when I was a kid, and I was wearing my Spider-Man pajamas, and then he grabbed me in such a way that and my stomach squeezed by his pressure that I pooped my pants. and from that moment on, I called that wrestling Play-Doh factory.
Oh my god.
That's what I was I was 5, Play-Doh factory, because I just if you squeeze, because you're a little kid, if you squeeze in someone's stomach enough, you can create a colic reaction. And colic reflex, and my dad, it's instant poop in my pants. It was no warning. It was no pressure, no nerves, just a physical, like a prostate massage in some weird way, but for kids, where if you just press their stomach or something, they instantly just poop. This is like a less like fucked up thing than prostate massage or whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, if I push his stomach here, he poops.
Did your parents like change you in things, or did they have people to do? Like, what happened?
No, I get to watch Outer Limits a lot. I watched a lot of Real Sex Live. I would like brag to like someone that would come over, like a psychiatrist every once in a while, and be like, I know about women's periods. And then my mom would be like, how do you know about that? It's like I know what a lesbian is. And I would just like brag about everything I learned about from like 2:00 in the morning showtime.
God,
and my mom would be like, how does he know this stuff? I'm like, cable. And no one gave a shit. Did I have people watch over? Not stop me from doing things. I was a very rambunctious kid.
I can't imagine anybody ever at any point in your life trying to stop
No,
you.
and one of the psychiatrist reports, they said Andrew is very yeah, I said Andrew. Ben is very he's very charming, and he will be able to do anything that he wants to do. Because like I had this like ADD thing that they were kind of like wondering what it was, and but they were like, whenever he wants to do something, he does it. Like there's nothing stopping me from, once I decide that's what I want, I did it. Because I took some tests when I was younger, and they were like 2 different tests. These IQ tests of like borderline genius, all these areas, and then like, or in the genius range, and then there's this like severely mentally disabled. And it was like very weird. And it was like because of there's some sort of ADD paradigm there, like not caring about the test or not trying or not being focused on it. Yeah. It was just like my mind was else. So there was some like reorganized tests where they like reassociate it and kind of like, I don't know, helps kids that are just like all over the place. But apparently I had some sort of detachment issues because my parents like abusive nature to each other. And so I would like stay away from things, and like some sort of attachment disorder, or detachment disorder, something. And
I think it's
they thought I was borderline retarded at one point. Just off the testing for like one. They're like, oh wait, we have to redo this because there's something. His parents abused him or abused each other, and we have to adjust this for that.
It's great that they were so thorough with like, I did not have the resources.
No, I had everything. I had every resource. You know, I was very lucky.
I mean, it's I think mine was there was like a court-ordered psychiatrist that's in during my parents' divorce, and I was 3, but they had talked. Maybe I had ADD this whole time. You make me think that might be the case, but what did they say about me?
I don't think lazy's ADD.
No, I just.
It's a joke.
No, it was very much the same way though.
Sit up.
I was very much so the same way where if I wanted to do something, I would, and I struggle with that a lot. And I wish that was, I don't know if it's habitual or if it's ADD or if it's just like I've been operating this way for so long that
I don't care about like the obstacles to things. Like it's like an Asperger thing or something. Maybe I don't see, like, I'm very good at social situations, but at the same time, I also, there's a lack of empathy or something. So like the woman in the wheelchair that I've seen around, when I finally was introduced to her by this person also as a dog, that invited me to come in to this like dog play date. My first thing was like, is it hard for you to do the kind of like the bicycle thing with your arms, because you know, like your arms are smaller than your, like the muscle group than your legs, and so that must tire you more. And she's like, oh, I wouldn't know because I've never been able to use my legs. I'm like, huh. Like I went right to the gut of it, which is you're in a wheelchair. Like I just went straight for it. Like I just make it completely obvious that was my point of emphasis. I didn't care, didn't think it was insensitive. It was like, was that a weird bicycle? You know, the one they use with their arms?
Well, in a way,
I went right to it. That was my thing I want to talk about. I didn't care that she might be like, isn't that a little on the nose? Like you're asking me about a bicycle. It's like, you know, I once asked a gay guy, like, what's the deal with like sticking your dick in people's asses? Does that feel good? Like, I just went right to it. I was really confused. Like, how does that work? I just didn't care. No inhibition about like societal like inappropriateness or anything. Just went right to it. Like, let me understand this more because I'm confused. And so, yeah.
To get your
it was at University of Texas. My friend invited me down to parties here, and there were all these like all the parties were like canceled because some girl killed her boyfriend, like hacked him up, like a UT student in the bath. Yeah, dead serious. And so all the parties were canceled except for the gay private parties or something, the off-campus parties. So all the cool Daisy Dukes that I wanted to like try to get with or something like that at the frat things was no go. So I went to a gay party, and so that was one of my questions. Yeah. But yeah, this woman in the wheelchair, I do feel like that's the thing. I don't care about like those social things. I don't care about like, do you have to work your way into that?
I think you do care of another's well-being. I don't think you care about, like, I think you think opinions are just that, which is probably to your benefit.
Yeah, I don't care about the superficial. Like, that's a superficial thing. The superficial thing is that you're supposed to work your way into talking about the weird bicycle that like paraplegics use. Like that's
and in a way that's a super refreshing like trait for somebody to come across. Some people,
I didn't know I was going to see the girl that was disabled again. I was like, I want to get all my questions out now.
Yeah.
Do you know who Christopher Reeves is? Stuff like that. Like to ask all the questions.
I know it must be terribly hard for you to function in a down south anywhere because they're so full of like this fluffy like bless your heart and all this like superficial bullshit jargon, and here you are just
I from knowing Texas, I thought Texas was a lot nicer. Texas is bullshit. I think it's a lot of it's like fake. Yeah. Like a lot of the nice bullshit. I've had some dealings with some Texas people, and I can tell you that it's the whole like good Texas like like Christian like I saw you at church. How's your wife? And they're like, it's all bullshit. It's more fake because it comes with a different accent. And it comes with like an assumption of this is what you're supposed to say. That's like salutation. Like that's like, oh, this is the prerequisite in order to converse with someone. I'm like, really? It's a little effectual.
Yeah.
And like they're the one where they care or they pretend to care. Oh, yeah. Texas they're just as selfish and is just as like as everyone else in the world. And so it's actually even more disappointing. You notice it more. Like, aren't you supposed to be? Isn't this supposed to be the country? They're just as conniving and self-serving as every other fucker.
Yeah.
So fuck Texas.
We were talking the other day about your sense of humor thriving here.
Yeah, because people, I'm very blunt with things I say, and they're like, they think I'm serious. If I told a police officer that I was upset with, and I did once, so one of my ex-business partners, so this is weird. I got a call from a police officer saying that there was a road rage incident on a road, and they thought it might be me. And I instantly knew what it was. Someone with my car, or car like mine, yelled at my ex-business partner, and probably. And they assumed because of the vicinity to their house and me that I must have been me. And this person owed me a ton of money, and it ended badly. But it wasn't me. I was not even in the same state. But I made a joke. He's like, well, where were you? But this is how it works in Texas. Like, you can call like this number like 311 to make a complaint about anything, whether it's a stray dog or a chipmunk that's rabid, or your ex-wife is like beating one of your kids, whatever it is, or someone had a road rage incident, like yelled at you and then like drove off, which is apparently what happened here.
Yeah.
And he's such an asshole. I would not be surprised if he doesn't upset people on a day in, day out basis. Right. But yeah, the cop called. So I was really annoyed that this cop was kind of like very strict with me and stern. He's a cop that calls me. He's basically a guy that takes complaints daily, like a call-in thing for all of Austin, Texas.
Probably a reprimand for fucking up somewhere along the way. That would be the
maybe,
worst.
But it's like I don't take him seriously as a police officer because he's like calling me like, oh, he's not a detective. He's like, I just know the situation, and he's being kind of like, just like, well, that's not what I heard, or like blah 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 about what you're talking to me about, like who made this complaint? What car was I driving, sir? May I ask? He was like, well, I'm not allowed to give out that information. I'm like, this is so cryptic. Who would say this about me? Or how do you have my number? How did you like? It's like, well, I knew instantly who it was. He never said it, but I knew what it was. Something happened, and it's like he just assumed it was me and made a complaint, and just to piss me off because I made a complaint about him at some point, like over a year ago. It doesn't matter. But at one point I tell the cop, like, he's like, where were you? I'm like, I was with your wife. and he's like, excuse me? It's like, what is your home address, sir? He's like, I don't give, like, well, would you like me to tell you? Because I know it, because I was with your wife. And he's like, sir, is there something that I did to upset? He instantly shifted. I was like, do you realize that there's no frame of understanding. You're accusing me of something. You're kind of like being sarcastic to me and like cryptic, and you're not telling me anything. And you're saying someone has accused me of road rage, but you won't tell me what car I was driving or any incidents. You just want to like know where my whereabouts. I'm like, I'd like to know some facts. Like, how the fuck did this conversation start in the first place? Where did you get my phone number? Who made this complaint? Why do you assume it's me? Like, it's absurd.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, did you not have a house at da da da? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, well, he was just so. He's like, sir, I'll ask. He had stuff like, I'll ask the questions, and like, it was so rude. Like, not Texas nice. So when I went down that line of thinking, like that line of like switch to my tone, he didn't even pick on the fact that I was being an asshole, and like not. I don't even think I was being funny. I was angry, but it was sarcastic. Yeah. And he was like, I felt almost like he's like, well, do you feel, sir, that it's worth, like, why are you sleeping with my wife? Like, I felt like it was like something, it was like this bizarre like way of him thinking like he's either sleeping with my wife, and that's not, I don't want that, so I have to diffuse the situation, or he's really upset with me for some reason when I'm just trying to do my job. But like, I'm like, you're not wouldn't you be upset if someone accused you of something crazy and you have this random police officer call you?
Yeah.
It's like road rage.
Yeah.
At the time, my car was broken, by the way. So like, or it was the first day I had it back.
Yeah.
After like not having it for months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're telling me. And I was like, did I have a blackout? Like, I was like, did I drive so happy that my car was fixed? The Range Rover, the blown head gaskets, that like I got into a road rage thing, and I somehow was in Texas, even though at the time I wasn't in Texas anymore, and that I forgot about it, and I yelled at someone, and like I almost believed him.
Yeah.
And it was no, it's just like the guy is full of shit, made me very angry, and I started talking shit about his wife. I really held back. I was like, you're so fucking rude. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't care. This isn't, you're not a real police officer. I could just say you're not real. There's no badge. You're just some asshole talking to me on the phone. So I'm just going to like say whatever I feel like. And so I did. And I felt like I was justified. I'm sure it was wrong. The whole, you shouldn't talk about people's wives and stuff like that. Maybe that's right. I just didn't care. He was so unprofessional. And I was just like, fuck it.
Well, I thought about you the other day. So I was like sifting through trying to sleep and going through like stories of this and that. And Humans of New York is always a favorite. I read like all of
that's
them.
Very popular.
Yeah, and they had this
it's worth millions of dollars, by the way, that account. Millions of dollars.
Yeah, they had this wonderful like duo story of sorry, Bubby is doing a very licky. He's derailing me. Anyway, they had Humans of New York posted this story of a speech teacher she taught debate and speech, I think, but debate. She taught a debate team in an underprivileged area, and it was about her and her student, and like reading what she had to say about like how a lot of people feel like
she has to do is like, oh, so I guess I guess you could say that because I'm black won the bread.
It was
That's exactly the conversation.
No, it was beautiful because she talks about like bringing her team of kids to compete at Harvard at their debate team, which is the biggest deal. And
haven't heard of them.
She talks about how the kids don't ever feel like what they have to say is worth it. So like how it all starts with how it made me think of you in the way that you interact with people and that confidence, and how some people just aren't taught, like you're taught to just like keep your head down, and like it made me like think like, oh, I'm glad Andrew's the way that he is.
Both hands on the steering wheel. Say yes, sir, no, sir.
No.
Say, officer, I'm going to get my registration. And reach your hand slow. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But seriously, you should read it. It was really, really
I didn't
beautiful.
Learn that.
It made me tear
I
up.
didn't learn what I do. I didn't learn it. I don't know what it's. I've always had it.
But I mean, her take on it too is that like a lot of people who have had, I guess they don't really outright say this, but it's implied that if you have more of an education in the foundation, you feel as if you're more like firmly, like you're just more confident in this world, and people who don't get that maybe don't ever feel like they're deserving of. So it was this beautiful story about like.
I want to say that I'm going to be dead honest. The reason why I feel confident, even when I shouldn't, perhaps when I'm not educated on a subject as much as perhaps I should be, what happens to everyone in a conversation of polemics and back and forth. Yeah. I've been this way since I was in like a child. Like my dad, who was a narcissist, who's highly educated, was teaching classes in business as like a guest speaker at Georgetown in his 20s. After being successful as an investment banker. Yeah. He wasn't around. He didn't raise me. Like not because he didn't want to necessarily, because my mom and him fought, and she like got custody and basically pinned him against, me against him, and like, the kids, classic, and then sued him for money. The classic thing what women do. Yeah. And Amber Heard. And
your mom was the
well, my mom came from a good family too. It's just, when a guy, hell hath no fury, right? Yeah. But I'll finish that for you. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, just in case. But I was like this when I was the principal at my second grade or whatever, or came in like, who did I say like? I hated the bus driver that would drive me to school in the second grade. And then I remember Mr. Shelton at this school, like the second grade school I went to. It's like, I'm going to say Ben, even though obviously it's Andrew. It's like, Ben, why'd you call the bus driver a son of a bitch? And I'm like, because he was one. Mr. Shelton. Like I was so just straight on, like I was always that person. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I know I was a kid when Chelsea Clinton was dating a kid on my street, Lowell Street, same street as Tucker Carlson had been run off from. Gorgeous house. He bought the Quinn's house across the street from the Seidlitz's on Lowell Street. It's a fabulous street in Washington, D.C. off of Loughborough near Foxhall. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was raised. And so at the bottom of the cul-de-sac was our house. And Chelsea Clinton was dating someone on the street. So whenever I was young, and Clinton was more or less the president for most of my like sub 10 years. Mm-hmm. And one Halloween they were walking around, Chelsea and her boyfriend, and all the Secret Service were out. And they were like kind of trying to be inconspicuous, but they're in their cars and there were also guys in suits. I'm like, that's not a costume. I would like tug on all these guys' suits, like the bottom of their jacket, like, sir. I was like 6, 7. I was like, sir, I know who you are. And I would just like go around to all of them to let them all know, like, you're not fooling me. You're not fooling anyone. And I was like, that was me. that was the type of kid I was. Like,
there's certain like people that I look at, like you're one of these people where I'm like, like you're like fascinating. You're highly interesting. But there are certain people where I'm like, I wish I would have like known you when you were younger, because it was probably not too far off from where you are now, and hilarious. Like a mini Ben. I can't even wrap.
I don't think I'm meant to do anything except entertain people at dinner parties. I really think that my job should just be to make people laugh at dinner parties. That's basically it. Not as a job. Just like go to dinners, be a socialite, and not work. That's kind of what I feel like I would be best at. In terms of my benefit to society would just to be myself at dinner parties. People would pay me to do that. Like people would, like as if I was an artist or something. Well, we got to have dinner with Ben tonight. Oh, okay. How much is his rent? New York, 1 bedroom.
Like a concierge at the dinner table.
Who's paying for Ben's rent tonight? Also, he wants to bring a couple bottles of wine, but he has no money. Who's buying the bottles of wine that he will brag about when he brings them, and he'll have a patron like pay for them, and then like I can be like, I've got these absolutely lovely bottles. Hello, Lady Rockefeller, Lady Rothschild, how are you?
I knew your British accent would come out at some
point. When I watched The Wolf of Wall Street and I saw that like Jordan Belfort's father did the British accent thing randomly with random people, and I realized I did that too, like with Uber drivers or Comcast guys, like why is our Comcast not working? The internet's out, and it'd be like, oh yeah, like well, let's check into it and make sure, is your account up to date, like if there's an outage in the air. I'm like, this is absolutely unacceptable. By the way, are you a Redskins fan? And then I'd talk about the Redskins for like an hour, and then Kelsey would be like, why is he on the phone with the Comcast guy like all afternoon? Like he needs friends. And it's like, no, this is my friend, one of my new friends. And that's just
John Travolta, you're my friend.
That's the way I was. That's where I am. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, it's a lovely piece of you. I think that's this has been a very psychologically in-depth. I feel like we bounce from having like a really funny episode.
This episode has some weird stuff on the docket. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has just declared a new alternative to dental dams. It's underwear by L'Oreal's. It's like a dental dam, like a condom, but it's supposed to block the transmission of nasty pathogens such as herpes virus and the bacteria that causes gonorrhea and syphilis. No one uses dental dams anymore. This is a weird thing to like
expand on something that never worked.
No, like people abandon them, but not because they thought they were inconvenient, because people just don't care.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a fuck. This is like for the girls that complained about Weston Calum on TikTok. Like this is that type of thing. Those are the type of women that would be like, well, this is let me go put on my dental dam underwear before you go down on me. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. If that ever happened, I'm out. Like these are the type of women that talk about how like the dating rules are like, oh, he's ghosting. Men are evil, ghosting. Like this is what's been going on in dating since the dawn of time, and you're like adding these random labels to things that don't need to be labeled or categorized. Yeah. Like we don't need this thing about like it takes sexy out of sexy. Like a venereal disease is a good thing. It's a good mark of honor, that's you don't need this shit for real. Like you don't need this shit. Like great sex and like syphilis go hand in hand sometimes. It's worth it. Take the risk. Jeez, yeah. we have all the vaccines. No one gets syphilis anymore. I think. What are you worried about? It's little herpes. It's nothing. What is it? Everyone gets cold sores.
Is herpes like, is that the only one that's incurable now? Isn't it only like one or two that like...
Define incurable. We have like stuff like Valtrex that Paris Hilton has, maybe. And, it basically creates a, kind of like the HPV virus, human papillomavirus, or AIDS, where it becomes or HIV, I should say. We have enough medication to basically make the virus dormant, go into a reservoir to where it's not active. There's not enough active to even be tested positive.
Yeah.
And so the odds of you having an outbreak are very few and far between. And like they've improved upon this now. I can't say for certain. I don't read about this. I don't have herpes. But if I did, I think it'd be fair to say off the top of my head, you can't so with Valtrex, or one of the drugs, you cannot actively transmit the virus even without symptoms. But if you did not have the medication and you did not have an outbreak of herpes, theoretically you could transfer the virus, and that's what's dangerous about it.
Well, one of my friends has it, and he said like flare-ups.
How often does he get those?
It like
twice
happens,
a year, right?
It happens with stress. Like it's a stress-induced thing.
Right.
Like I laughed because I was like, oh my God, if I if I were to get herpes, like I'd be flared up.
I slept with a porn star that had herpes. Or at least online it said she had herpes. I didn't get herpes. I also almost slept with a stripper, and right before we were about to have sex, she said, I just want to let you know that I have herpes. And I said, I just want to let you know that I have to go return some videotapes. No, I was like, she was really nice, and I was like, I debated. I was like, I just didn't even feel comfortable using a condom, so I just didn't. She was a smoke show. It was too bad, because I wish I was dumber and did it anyway, because she was hot. I would have taken the risk. Fuck it. The fact that I don't have AIDS, the amount of stuff. Well, not AIDS. Knowing what I know about AIDS, it's impossible for me to have gotten AIDS given my sexual history. But something.
Yeah.
I should have gotten something. But no trannies fucking me up the ass, no AIDS, but something I should have gotten. I've done some really risque things. Like, I'm shocked I don't have herpes. I really am. Like, the amount of, like, in my younger years with all the strippers and the B and C-list models, I'm very surprised that I didn't get something.
Some of your stories, I'm like, ugh.
My body count is very high, and it stopped a long time ago. And I'm not like bragging about that. It's like I had no sex in high school, and then I went, woo, like kind of like a, I don't know, like an exponential graph or something, just straight up, 90 degree, and then I got into some serious relationships. It slowed down, and then one, and then boom, nothing. But in that time frame, I mean, some crazy things. I mean, crazy things.
You still have it in you. I can see.
Oh yeah, I do. I just
going to forever be.
It's when you get older. It's like if I got on like testosterone, maybe I'd like start getting there again. Like I don't know if maybe not. I feel like testosterone in some ways is a negative effect where you're so horny that you do dumb things. People that get on testosterone because they want to have like more energy or feel like they want like their body back from when they were like 25 or something like that. And I don't really have that issue. But the internal like hormonal feeling of just like I'm willing to do whatever it takes to have sex tonight, including like not going to bed, staying up till 4 a.m., going to a bar and spending $400 just to sit there and look for a girl, like those type of things. I feel like that's where like testosterone therapy that Joe Rogan doesn't talk about the negative effects of, like the stupid things that you do when you're horny, like it is an incredible waste of time. It's so easy for it's just so easy for us that like you just, even for one of my stature over here with my my Canyon Lake journey, it was like literally maybe like a 4-minute Tinder thing, and I was like, yep, are you coming? Have it.
Yes,
yeah,
great.
Always that. Like there are men that look like Brad Pitt that will have trouble getting laid. It's because it's completely different for men and women. It's completely, for men, it's all about the foreplay that guarantees the sex. Everything after that, your 12-inch dick doesn't matter. It's all about what led up to that. So there's all this investment. Like the thing I used to do when I had like the most threesomes that I did was this one bar in DC, and I would like buy a group of girls drinks and then buy like, I don't know, like natural selection. The best looking girl would know that like she's the one that's supposed to come over, or like be I'd buy all of them drinks and ignore them, and I would not talk. I just I just enjoy them, to have a good time. Just take up their tab, $200-$300, didn't care, whatever it is, and then they're like, this is so weird. He's doesn't want anything from us. And then all the girls regress. All the side girls like, yeah, you're hanging out with the girls tonight, Sarah. We're just dancing. Like, fuck men, yeah, fuck them. And then it's like, we have to let you go. You've risen. It's like you've ascended. And then they let the hot one come, and then like they try to encourage her because for them, the best one getting like the alpha or whatever the fuck you want to call it, like working their way to the tall, handsome guy that bought the drinks, lifts them all up. And so
like they vicariously live
yes, that 100%. So guys are listening, whenever you have a group of girls that are like, or you like one girl and she's with other people, don't even try to steal her away from her friends. It's almost impossible. You could be a multi-billionaire and like have a helicopter waiting outside. That's not the way you do it. That will help later on. But the immediate thing, you want to give without any reciprocation, which is pick up their tab. If they're having dinner with each other, have again, this helps to have some money. I know you don't have to be rich, but it helps to be able to like invest. And if you want sex, you want that girl, you want like to date her even potentially. She's really that beautiful. You take your credit card, you tell the waiter to put their dinner on your tab. And you don't maybe even say, no, don't say anything. Just like a gentleman took care of it. And then they'll look around the room at some point, and then you smile at them, and then you leave, and they know. And then maybe you go to a bar a month from now, and they see you again. You got them. Okay, like I know that sounds ridiculous, and it's a poor investment. All you men are cucked by women constantly. You are, she has all the power. She like, I have to work like a slave, and like, she wants a Range Rover, so I have to make sure of this. She wants to go to this weekend to the beach. Okay, so I have to, and like, she wants this. You have all the power. Do well in life. Have a good career. You have all the power. You don't fight for women. They fight for you. Women want to be wanted, not needed. So you give to them and generous with your time and your money, and show them that you're interested without asking for anything in return. It lays an egg that's like a goddamn golden goose. And it's so detached, but by some sort of like energy level. Even if you didn't tell the waiter to say who paid for the dinner or the drinks, somehow they will come around to, even a city like New York, they will come around to you again, and you will have some fantastic sex with that hot girl. I guarantee it. Yeah. I guarantee it.
Well, you got to give it up. That's a gentleman move too. I mean,
it's the best way to do it. Try everything else. You're just like one of the guys. Hey girls, can I buy you guys drinks? Yeah. It's so boring. Fuck them. You don't give a fuck. You're just like, I think you girls are beautiful. I want to be a patron for your night. Buy them drinks and just don't even talk to them. They will come over.
Yeah.
And then if it's a situation where you just feel like I want to be really like surreptitious with this, like those girls are like B-list models, maybe some A's, maybe one of them's with Ford or something, and you're like, this is pretty nice. I'll take care of their meal. Yeah, they have rich guys, bankers constantly hitting on them. Some guys will give them $1,000 to be their date for the night in a platonic way to go to an event. Nothing you do really can usurp their Hamptons weekends. It's just it's not about that. You can't win because there's not enough money. It's almost like it's not a non-important one. What's important is that you are just patronizing them and show you care, and that'll hopefully get you an end that diversifies you as a commodity to them later on. Yeah. Trust me. There's nothing better than to give to a beautiful woman, let her know that you think you're interested, and then without like pressure. You want them, but you don't need them. The need is I buy you a drink and then you blow me. That whole like reciprocation of you have to talk to me now. I just bought you a $8 vodka tonic. That doesn't know. You lay the egg and you play the long game. That's the way it works. Otherwise, you're a needy little prick who like thinks $500,000 a year is super rich. Like that's the bitch thing. I know that sounds very pretentious and everything else. Trust me. Even if you only make $50,000 a year or whatever it is, don't be the needy prick. lay your eggs and you will slay the girls. Lay your eggs and be patient. And then the energy will just come through like a girl and like in Soho, or if you're in Texas, a girl in East Austin that you met in the ghetto that was like really cool, and she was a white girl with dreadlocks and it was interesting. You kind of wonder what's the deal with that. Whatever. She's just absolutely gorgeous, and you buy her friends drinks, buy her shit, and leave. And then somehow you see her at like the governor's ball next month, and the dreadlocks are still there, and you're like, wow, the fuck, what is she doing? And then you realize she's Grimes. And then you fuck Grimes, and Grimes tells you that, like, oh, your dick's bigger than Elon's. And you're like, my dick's bigger than Elon Musk's dick? That's amazing. You mean it charges you better than his? And then and then that's your thing. And it just like you get married, and then some of Elon's money helps pay for your kid's private school because like she got some money from Elon and probably will always have money from Elon. So that's the thing. So you just don't know. Be generous with your money, gentlemen. Be generous with your money. Don't think that you have to, because it's not the way you look. It's not your muscles. It's not your abs. It's not how fit you are. It's all about money and power and being able to take care of women. That's what matters. Not, oh, I can do 200 push-ups in a row. That's like a manipulation thing by the fitness industry and like conquering the world, because most people are retarded. So they know most people cannot start their own business and be successful and blah, 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 blah. So they think, well, what if we convert starting your own like business to doing a lot of like sit-ups and having abs, and we equate that as success. Yeah. That's a manipulation so that their whole, like the guys online are talking about like penny stocks will get you rich. Come watch me trade. They do penny stocks because most people don't have any money, so they get more subscribers by doing penny stocks because everyone can afford penny stocks. Yeah. It's a manipulation. So trust me. Go after your money. You want to get that MBA? Do it. Get that MBA. Oh, you're in college right now. You're at a state school. Transfer. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Cornell, Dartmouth, no state schools. No state. You finish at a top school.
Are you done with your college speech?
Yeah, I guess.
Men, my God,
I guess.
You just got up and you were.
Yeah. Well, no, you got to go after it. You got to go at. Trust me. Most people just don't know. They just don't know. Trust me.
This is where girls like me get in there and we're like, oh, you don't know?
Beautiful women, like a better life is right around the corner. You just don't know. You assume, hey, dude, I got into UT, and like we're gonna go hit on the girls this weekend at the bar, and like I'm gonna buy this girl a vodka tonic, and she's gonna blow me. I'm like, basic, dude, basic game, basic. Mm-hmm. But you gotta step up your game, man. There's like the girls in high school, right? And you're like, oh, they're amazing. And they didn't sleep with me, and then like all of a sudden like forgot about them because it just things change. Like there's all these beautiful girls in the world, they're gorgeous, and like you just forget about. Like, there's always something greener, and it's just like sometimes you're just so oblivious to the idea of like what could else be out there that you're just like you're naive to it. But it could limit you. You could be unhappy where you are, and all your friends are happy, and you just don't know how to do the other thing. So I'm giving people kind of like a manual to say, open new doors, and this is how you can do it. Right. Sorry.
Well, that's kudos to you. I think you are a specimen of man, and men should take after that. You also frighten me too, I think. I think that there is, well, especially with somebody that I'm trying to see, I've been debating whether or not to introduce them to you for some stock advice, because I feel like you would be like,
money. Yeah, this is what Sarah wants to do. She wants me, she's like, so, well, maybe he'll give you money to invest or something. I'm like, or maybe you can just teach him. So, which basically things that took me like years to learn about valuation, investing, and et cetera and so forth. I'm going to just teach someone for free, which isn't even possible if I wanted to, in like a conversation over coffee or dinner, and then not get anything out of it.
I know. After the fact, I was like, that would be like you asking me to sit with somebody who can't sing at dinner and be like, teach them to sing.
Yeah, like can you make me Adelaide? Can you make me sing like Adelaide? I want to be like Adelaide.
At the time, I was like, hey,
Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey.
I was like, at the time, it was you two would probably get along, very type A, hardworking. But then part of me was like, oh my, you know me too well, and you're gonna blurt out something like, well, so like just something so honest, and then fuck it for me, like fuck it all up. Maybe and hopefully
I would never ruin your happiness that way. I'm not. I
don't think it would be intentional though. I think you would just like.
I think you might think I say something, but I kind of know what I'm saying when I say it. Okay. Anything I would say, I do a lot of things to your benefit that you think are not to your benefit. But here's the reality: you wouldn't have met him without me. There's a lot of things that I do that you are like kind of under the radar to encourage you, that are like primers, and they might be very inconvenient at the time, but I know that they're the best, and that's why I don't feel so guilty.
Yeah. Well, I can say my life has been exponentially better and improved since you've been in it. I think
it's subtle things. It's all you, but it's kind of like a framework. There's still a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of things. If I was like
so simple too. It's like simple work, but I'm just like this stubborn mule about the way that I go about.
There's some. It may not be. Not everything may be that I believe you could be is what you want to be, and that's fine. But the danger is that it's best to try and to say to yourself on your own, I don't want this.
Yeah.
If you don't try. Apparently what people say they regret years later is not trying things.
Said ever try, ever fail.
Right.
No matter. Try again.
Try.
Fail better.
I hate this job. Good. But you didn't know that until you tried. There's so many people actually on life, like, I want to do this thing that I've always wanted to do, and they actually end up doing it, and they hate it. But if they didn't go down that route, knowing something you don't want is just as important as knowing something you do want. And so the things that you like right now, but you feel the sense of like maybe something could be better. Unfortunately, the only way to move forward is actually try all these things and realize, oh, that sucks, or even better, which I think is more self-effacing, I suck at this, but I really like it. Oh, what if I could be good at this? And that brings joy to you to get good at something that actually is hard, and it's like you're not good at it, and then all of a sudden you're good at it. And it's like, God, that's rewarding. And it's just not immediate gratification. I do want to mention this story. An organized crime prosecutor from Paraguay. I saw this, I was like, this sucks. He was on his honeymoon in Colombia, but was assassinated Tuesday when two gunmen arrived by jet ski on a private beach where he was relaxing with his fiance and shot him and his wife and authorities, I guess, that were there also, like maybe guards on the beach or something to protect the rich tourists from drug traffic, I don't know, something, right? And maybe guys that like steal purses on the beach or something. And this assassination happened within an hour of his fiance posting on her Instagram where they were and like tagging him, like the exact beach. It's like they were watching him and they knew. They think more than likely that's what happened, and she was pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah, and because they that same day they posted a picture with like baby shoes or something. Like, it's so fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, why would you ever want to be a prosecutor in a third world country against the drug cartels? Like, I could see being a prosecutor in New York against drug cartels and still feeling uncomfortable, but like. That's like me trying to start my own drug trafficking organization in Sonora, Mexico. I would be like scared out of my fucking mind.
Just to go get the mail, you'd be like,
to take a piss, I'd be scared. I like to start my car. I'd be like, it's like I'm standing. You're not standing up for shit, dude. You're not doing anything.
There's yeah, that's
because your boss, the head prosecutor, is probably getting paid by them. Like you're an idiot. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't I'm very much against the drug.
I wonder if they ever had
or the drug trafficking world, but like it's not like you. What the fuck do you think you're doing for drug trafficking in Paraguay? Yeah. Like, what do you like? Who are you? Like, what? Like, what? It's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
there's not enough resources for you to do anything in Paraguay.
Well, I wonder what kind of guns they had. Like, how do you
Uzis?
Like, do they not see them? Did they sneak up to a different part of the beach, or was it?
No, you're at a resort and people are on jet skis. Do you think they're going to come up and shoot you? They're on jet skis. Who's not smiling when they're on a fucking? They probably were smiling to conceal it. Like they were probably smiling, bouncing up and down. What's the one where you stand up? Is that water ski or jet ski?
Water ski is
okay. Whatever. They're probably really happy and they were putting on fake smiles. And then right when they got to the to like the edge of the surf breaking, that's when they pulled out their Uzis and like blew them away. Yeah. And they're really smiling the whole way. They're like, "Hi."
Like Bubby right now. My dog is just smiling so.
No, he feels
stupidly at Andrew.
He probably feels like he's probably annoyed that he can't sleep because we're talking so much.
No, he loves. I just told you that. So when you make your move to the East Coast, I'm gonna have to play your podcast for him. When you leave.
He needs to forget I ever existed, and you need to take him on walks 10 times a day.
He won't need to forget.
Guys that work at grocery stores don't move their arms. They don't. They walk.
Isn't that like a Seinfeld episode?
Yeah. But guys, like effeminate, progressive men with purple hair also don't do it, and I feel like it's like a sense of like I don't want to be combative with the air in front of me, so I don't want to slice it with my arms. So I just want to be like, I respect you, and I'm just going to keep them like they're like Putin, like they're like ex-KGB. They have their hand by their gun the whole time, but it's like both arms.
There's I wonder what that is. That must be some psychological like thing. It's probably, I mean, who knows? Maybe some people don't want to show off their arms, so they don't want to move them. There's so many weird insecurities out there. Like I have a big insecurity about my legs.
It's not an insecurity. It's an effeminate thing that guys do to not appear to be like, they don't want to appear. Do you know that people's taints are getting smaller? So like the men's taints are getting, the area between their balls and their asshole is getting tinier and tinier, like a woman's, like the gap between them. And I feel like the guys that have their taints getting smaller and smaller probably are also guys that don't move their arms. It's so effeminate to have a man that like doesn't move his arms, and like you must have a very narrow taint. That's in me. That's what I think of because Joe Rogan mentioned it. I'm like, narrow taints, don't move your arms, purple hair, like looking like a goddamn my magic pony. What is it called?
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. Yeah, My Little Pony. Like you like in real life, like your little purple mane. God, that's
just
so
thinking
gay.
Of my friend,
it's
right?
So gay, man.
Which I
like overweight, don't move your arm, like incredibly overweight, purple hair, guy, facial hair, don't move your arms, looking for like where the soy section is, just like Jesus, like basically like just repulsive to women, just like the ultimate, but somehow they get laid. I have no idea. Oh my God. This disgusts me. I want to call them. I actually want to kill them just because they just look disgraceful. Like you're a guy. Like I'm serious. Like it's something like it's not. They're not gay. It's not homophobic. It's like you're straight. No. You either be gay or you stop. You move your fucking arms. Like it's just so.
You need to teach some sort of an etiquette. You should just have like. And the dinner party thing can be involved too, but like have like a hotel business men's etiquette and demeanor comportment class 101. It'll be a college. You can offer it or maybe like a subsection of a college, but you can teach men how to be men again.
That's not interesting to me. I don't want to teach people to be my competition. I just don't like either you're so far away from being in competition with me about anything that it's embarrassing that you're even like in the same bracket. You're straight, but you act like that. It's not even gay. I don't know what it is. It's like a weird thing. It's like you either suck dick and still you gotta just move your fucking arms and stop with like your hair is not dyed except for the very back with just purple like you're a goddamn pony. What the fuck is wrong with you? Stop it.
There's
Anyways.
yeah. I mean,
Elon, sit up. Sit the fuck up.
I'm comfortable like this.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm cold
when you're working, you're not supposed to be comfortable. You're supposed to be impaired. Like
you are leaning back as you say.
I'm not comfortable. This is me. This is comfortable.
3 pillows underneath you.
It's on my back against the wall.
Okay, this is actually not.
Sit up.
I am cold. You have the fan on, and it's 69 degrees.
Absolutely civil. Elon Musk is accused of violating the NDA in the Twitter deal, the non-disclosure agreement.
How?
By disclosing that the sample size, because the population of users is so large, like accounts, the sample size to check automated users, bots, is 100. So they take a sample size of 100 random accounts over variant different sections and say that's what we use. And they say that that's where we determine that bots are less than 5% of users, monthly average users or daily average users. And then he tweeted the other day, and this has been something I've talked about for a while with the divergence of daily average users and the RPU, that ARPU, the average revenue per user, is going down, but the daily average user is going up significantly, which I was like, why are you failing to monetize all these new people? It's strange. Like there's so many more people and the ads are not working. Doesn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to me. And then he tweeted this, which is, I didn't know. Elon thought it was odd that on Twitter, the most popular tweets of all time had only 2% of daily average user likes. So the most popular tweets, the most liked tweets, had only 2% of the daily average users as the like count.
Really?
Yeah, like most viewed, most like interacted with, 2%. He's like, how is that possible? I thought that's interesting.
There's somebody behind the curtain on what's getting traction.
I've suspected for a long time that like a lot of Twitter is like run by ad companies and that there's like background deals with like PR firms. Like there are a bunch of super PACs or something running it. Like I don't quite, I don't know, but he's worried that the real Twitter accounts are far like less than the monetizable, like normal people, not bots. Yeah. And he might be onto something.
Yeah.
Scary.
I mean, yeah.
And they're accusing him of violating the terms of the NDA. And I'm like, 100 sample size is a very small amount considering the amount of users. You have 200 million, 300 million, 250 million, but your sample size is 100. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
But also, how do you guarantee that that's an accurate sample? Over 250 million people, you take a sample of 100. How do you do that? I'm curious about that. Like what they do to ensure that the sample's accurate and like well diversified. Yeah. Also, it would be the biggest, like, it would be interesting if it was revealed that Twitter actually is just a giant propaganda machine and that like really there's like 5 billion people that are on it. That would be hilarious or something like that. Like that would be frightening and show people that the whole system is designed to just trick you. Like Twitter is a simulacrum of the Matrix or something, like where we will create the detritus, we will create the trending topics and then make it appear as if it's popular when in fact nothing is real. The algorithm, what's being clicked on, the famous people pushing shit, it's all just marketing. It's not really for people to interact. It's just a marketing platform. Because as I've said, I've told other people, Twitter has an interaction problem. When Trump was president, I could read his tweets on Google. I didn't have to be part of Twitter. Most people don't read famous people's tweets from Twitter. They do it from Google.
Yeah.
Like when something really important happens, they find it from a third-party source, and they look at the tweets when they Google that person's name.
Yeah.
Most normal people don't have a Twitter. Like there's no reason to have a Twitter unless you have a job that needs Twitter. Like you're in journalism, or you're me that has like a podcast empire.
Yeah, I've been really I did not see the popularity of Twitter for a long time, unless comedians are great on Twitter. And a lot of
no, it's for jobs. It's so that you can. But like I would say that it's unless you have people helping you, like PR firms. Twitter is like a vacant, like kind of like calling out into the void. Even successful, talented people need like a PR firm behind their Twitter. Like Twitter is a mechanism of public discourse that really is designed as a voice box for certain people to then have the masses talk underneath their tweet in the comment section, the reply section. They're not really interacting with these people. It's like I'll say one thing and then it creates clickbait by encouraging conversation. And then I think the PR bots get into that and try to push people's buttons to create like a diatribe. And then maybe that has backlinks to other things like YouTube and other channels that are monetizable. I think that is really the essence of what Twitter is. It's a kind of proxy marketing system, and it might all be fake. And Elon might inadvertently have unlocked something that's very nefarious about how these systems work for the purposes of marketing, super PACs, political manipulation. And he might not end up buying Twitter. We might find out something very fucked up because he doesn't know everything yet. They have yet to disclose some of like their algorithm inner workings as to how like X,
isn't
Y
that
works.
like, I mean, aren't people sort of on how creepy, like if you, like for instance, if you talk or post something about how the ads on Facebook will like suddenly pop up with what you were talking about with your friend and not even typing in any way, shape, or form like that, I think is a real thing.
How have we been talking for this long? Oh my god!
How long has it been?
You don't even want to know.
Like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's scary. Actually,
what is it?
I don't want to tell you. Just keep talking. It's scary though. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It can't be like it's not. It hasn't been. What I like is how we go from like having like a raucously funny, like the last episode I listened to on my own. Sorry, I don't do that with a lot of them, but I listened to it because I thought of how funny it was, and I laughed. like I laughed at it was and then we go from like having a really deep psychological like not.
I mean, it's hilarious. I'm not trying to be like. This week was a slow week in the news.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of the topics we talked about today are very like dark, like people that still wear masks, that frightening, people that don't like walk with their arms in grocery stores, and then like people getting killed by drug lords on jet skis, which is kind of funny in a way. Like it's funny, like Scarface happened. Like the guys in suits came up on their jet skis and shot him and drove away.
Like Aquaman coming out of the ocean. Jason Momoa.
Really, they had like alligator skin suits on or something, and they scooted off on their jet ski.
What
the Nintendo 64 game I think of like water Wave Runner. Oh, I love that game. Big fan of that game, Wave Runner. Congrats to the Wave Runner people. I think you're EA. Good job with that. Maybe you're Activision. I don't know, but
well, do you think anybody's still with us in this one or?
With us? Yeah, they're with us. I shouldn't have. I don't want to tell you because then you'll just stop trying. But that's why I didn't want to tell you how long we've been talking, because you were talking and I interrupted.
Psychological, like me running to the finish line and asking you, like, Coach,
I know you're
what's
not gonna,
my time? And you're just like,
it is because you're in this shitty, lazy position sideways, and you're like, I was going to tell you how long we've been talking. It's
I would like to read my little.
No, I shouldn't have told you. You were in the middle of talking about something.
Okay, so keep talking. I'm sorry.
You were talking. I interrupted you by being shocked by what time it was. What were you talking about?
I had said, I don't remember the topic because I got on how funny our last episode was.
What about that? What the thing you sent me about the guy that strangled his girlfriend and then had a heart attack burying her body in the backyard?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like in Texas?
Well, no, I don't know if it was.
I was hilarious how they talk about how they try to justify these people. Like, she was such a nice person. She worked at a grocery store, the 6-year-old woman, and like the 6-year-old guy, like they were like boyfriend, girlfriend. It's like I couldn't believe this happened. She was so sweet. I'm like, I don't know what that has to do with anything. She's a victim. Yeah. Like, she probably cheated on him. Like blew like one of the bag boys or something, and he found out about it and then strangled her and then like buried her in the backyard. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna get away with this and have a heart attack.
And the bag boy obviously couldn't use his arms to protect her, and so
he wasn't there. If he was there, he would have been fucked. He'd be like, I don't know what to do. He probably uses his legs like he's like a soccer player, like football, like football Americano. You idiots, use your arms.
There's no, I mean I think it almost reminded me of who was I just talking about this movie? The movie Bernie. I don't know why that came to my mind reading it because he wasn't even old. It was pretty good, but I talked about it with a guy who used to be, I think, a lobbyist.
Sit
at a dinner party.
I swear to God, if you don't sit upright, I'm gonna hurt you.
Okay, is that good enough?
Yeah, it's better because you're like falling asleep, like talking, and you don't realize. Your whole like brainwave goes to like I don't know this like.
Well, I had rehearsal today.
Chopra. Okay. No one gives a fuck. We're talking.
So,
it's just for everyone else. This isn't about you.
All right. So Bernie, very funny with Jack.
Why does that remind you of Bernie?
Because he ends up like, it's sort of like this, and it's a true story, but it's this like. It's this gay guy, and he moves in with this older woman. He's like a part of this like barbershop.
Why does it
singing.
remind you? Don't have to say the whole story. Your stories sometimes are like you get into like the whole side thing.
Can I finish my thought?
When you talked about your abortion in the last episode, you talked about breakfast with your boyfriend for like a half hour before you got to it. I swear to God, I was like, they want to know about the abortion, not about why you're lactose intolerant. And how at the Waffle House, before you got to the courthouse, they gave you like...
Well, I'm very tired right now. I really am. So let's just...
Because you're sideways. You're literally sleeping right now.
Not why.
A separate part of your brain is talking right now.
I will pull the fucking microphone right out of the fucking plug.
Second part of your brain is talking
I will
right
diva
now.
right the fuck out of here.
So why is Bernie relevant to the guy killing? Just the end. The end.
He moves him with a woman. It just speaks to like the movie about Schmidt with Jack Nicholson.
Oh my God, you just switched to a different movie. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Is it about Schmidt? So it's it's like the men who have just like had it. Like it just reminded me of some old man who's like snaps and is like, I fucking had it, but like in this weird way where it's like murder. And I'm sure maybe he surprised himself. I don't think he was a serial killer. But yeah, Bernie, he ends up murdering this woman who's older who like supports him, but like he snaps on her one day and
like Albert Muth.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz's character in The Worst Marriage in Georgetown, or whatever it's called, Albert Muth, who I've met, is a homosexual married to a socialite in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., Viola Drath, who's like in her 90s. And he is supported by her and her estate, her monies, and has like a per diem per month to spend and put on this fake marriage. Antonin Scalia and famous people had dinner at their house in the basement. And so these are the type of, this is an odd duck couple. And this guy gets sick of her one night. Yeah. And like wants to just fuck little, like, you know, twinks at the house, at their nice Georgetown house or whatever, quaint Georgetown house. And he's like, why won't you die? And this like beats her up and kills her. Jeez. Like a woman in her 90s. Can't you wait? Yeah. Don't you have patience?
Right.
That's the delusion. Like, you're that impatient as a gay man?
Yeah.
Are you pissed off that maybe she wasn't going to give him anything and he was going to be like homeless or something?
Or maybe she found out and she was.
No,
playing
she
some
knew he was
weird-
gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe she was old fashioned and like didn't believe. Who knows?
He said that his story was hilarious. Like there were, she has a lot of enemies. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like I have a lot of enemies. It was crazy. When I watched his video of his interrogation, he was gonna get arrested that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting when you see someone in one of those interrogation videos and you know that they're not getting out of that room and they're never going to be free again, but they walked in there voluntarily. Like the cops invited them in, like the Craigslist killer.
Mm-hmm.
One prostitute I met once met him and he didn't kill her.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why? Why wasn't she chosen? Did
I don't know.
Did it bother her?
It bothered her that apparently he slept with a lot of transsexual women, and she was pissed off that she was worried she'd get AIDS. So I thought it was kind of transphobic, but I guess I don't know. So that was interesting. She had the conversation with me, and I was like, "That's fantastic. So you're sure you don't have AIDS?" I'm like, "Okay, let's continue." But no, it was an interesting story. He was in like med school at Harvard or something. Like he was not a dumb kid.
Jesus.
But yeah. I think that was him. Yeah. I just don't. Crimes of passion or stupidity or emotion. Do you know how hard it is to get away with murder? You'd have to turn off your phone, have an alibi, avoid every security camera in an area that would put you in the vicinity. I'll watch all. If someone gets killed in an area, every single bank, every single community camera will be turned on. They'll look for you leaving your building around within an hour or two of the same time. Yeah. You have no shot. It's impossible to commit murder. It's impossible. Yeah. The only way to do it is strangers on a train. That two strangers with no connections, you hire him to kill someone. That's how you do it. That's the perfect murder.
Yeah. You know what?
Don't do it yourself. That's bitch.
Have you seen the new episodes? The second.
Oh, I hope you're talking about the
last.
right show. I hope you're not going to switch to a different show midway.
Midway.
You're talking about Bernie and oh wait, that was about Schmidt. You talked about Bernie
That's
for 25 minutes.
No, I didn't. Okay, so no.
Oh wait, that was Jurassic Park. Never mind. Oh, you didn't realize?
All right, I'm gonna go to bed.
Oh my God.
Signing off.
No, tell me your thing about your thing. My criticism is perfectly legitimate. Go ahead.
Okay. So the new episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, they have this one. It's in the first section of them. I don't know if there were seasons or just they released 5 at a time or something. But in the first chunk of episodes, there was this one about this guy who was it was really crazy. So he murdered his entire family because he was about to lose his fortune. He was
that's considerate of him. He doesn't want them to be poor.
No, God, this would be. I feel like this is maybe why I'm telling you.
He and I are exactly the same mindset. It's I don't want to do that to them.
No, but he had a title too. This is in Europe, and what was he, a baron? I think he was baron.
Maybe he was a lord. I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
But he basically lost it all. But he ended up they're not sure if he got away with it or not. And he was caught on camera by this he's still at large. And it's been so long, but they're not sure if he drowned. He went over some sort of this mountain thing and he looked up at the camera and then he disappeared. And it was the spookiest. I have to show you that specific episode because I was this guy could be he could have fucking gotten away with it.
But how did he get anywhere without money?
Well, they say that he had some connections. There's some, because I researched it after because I'm
what kind of connections do you have to have someone when you're poor and
he had
accused of murder to be able to help you and not feel like you're going to be an accessory? You have to have huge connections with people with big balls that actually think you're worth it after you've killed your family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what kind of connections?
Maybe they didn't know at that time. Maybe he just called them like before, because his family, nobody found that. He almost got away with that too. Like I think he hid them under the house or something. Like, it was just really,
that's what I would do,
cryptic and dark. And like he nearly got away with that. And then they were saying, like, they showed the map of where he escaped, and they're like, this is the perfect area to escape, because we don't know if he went this way, that way. Like, it was really, he completely thought what?
I went to the right.
It was really freaky. It really, really was. I'll have to show it to you.
There are a couple of those stories of bank robbers that are like gotten away. I think the Antwerp bank robbery, the diamonds, I think they arrested a ton of people. But there have been some amazing things that have happened that don't get talked about a lot, mainly because of the insurance issues and like public embarrassment and et cetera and so forth. But there are some lovely, lovely, amazing crimes, horrible things. Sometimes they don't hurt anyone. They just, you stole diamonds or something, and the people got away with it. And it's like, what? But the question is like, are they just hiding in like Guatemala? Like, how do you get, like, everyone seems to get, like, it seems like the people that get away with things, it's like they're European and they're not hurting America. If you can rob a bank in like Zurich, the United States has no deposit accounts there, you have a chance of getting away. But if you like do anything that involves a victim being a United States citizen or a U.S. corporation, you can't run from the FBI, the Justice Department, but everyone else seems to be incompetent. Like, Interpol always gets someone and brings them back to the United States, whatever, in conjunction with a U.S. indictment. Mm-hmm. But if you can just stay away from the U.S. and be like, I want to rob the armored truck in, like, I don't know, Biarritz in the south of France, that might be your shot, and you might get away with it. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Well, one of my favorite heists ever was, there were like two guys, and they stole from a jewelry store, a very famous one. I know you remember this, and I wish you could help me out.
I remember.
I know you.
The Antwerp, the Antwerp, the European one at the airport.
Maybe, but it was like some like big operation. It was like Ocean's 11, where like they had somebody come with a truck and somebody was like the diversion, and like they ended up like,
the Antwerp diamond heist was done at the airport, which is I believe it was pretty amazing how they did it. They don't know, actually. It was just like, I haven't read the story in a while, but like a huge shipment of diamonds, inside job, disappeared from like secure transport at the Antwerp airport. And like they went after like some felons and some would-be like fences and arms deal, or the traffickers of like illicit items, and like arrested them and kind of forced them to say something. It was still never clear whether the people they charged and were actually like, there was no recovery of the diamonds. Maybe there was. It's been a while. It's like 2017. I want to say the story came out. Maybe it was, or I feel it was earlier than that. I haven't kept up with it, but these things happen a lot more than. They're awesome stories. Yeah. I like the ones where the guy. There's one story of a guy who got away. The guy with the old man face. They kept robbing all the banks in California. That was pretty cool. Yeah. The guy that like robbed an armored truck, took all the shit off of it, and then like had a gun, like walked away. They never found him. I love these stories. I mean, like, provided that there's not a tracer or dye packs in there. I feel like they could have like, the technology now is they could have a thin piece of like electronic on a bill and you don't see it, and the cops are just like coming to your house and you think you got away with it. That sucks. Anyways, we've been talking for a fuck long period of time.
First, before we go, I'm going to look up what specific, because you'll remember the heist I'm talking about. It was like
in the United States?
No, I think it was Europe. Heist, 2 men, jewelry. I swear it'll come.
I think she's going to bring up Ocean's 11, and it's like, I thought this was a doc.
Let me see. Gwinnett Mall. Oh, well, there's a recent one where police seek 2 men accused of stealing $30,000 in jewelry from Gwinnett
Excuse me.
Mall.
This is DWA. Do we give a fuck about $30,000? That's like a nice weekend.
Okay. Well, maybe for
that's like a 2-week vacation in Paris at the Bristol.
Really? What? Hold on a sec, guys. Oh, there's a jewelry company called Heist.
You're terrible at this.
I didn't know that. Oh, my Midwestern is coming out. 2 arrested in $300 million jewelry heist. That's not it. They got away with it. Heist jewelry. I'll just type in.
You don't know what year it is. This is a waste of time. This happens all the time. There was a story I read about Navy SEALs, ex-Navy SEALs robbing a jewelry store in Palm Beach, Florida. I heard that was cool.
Really?
Yeah. They found them because the FBI did like some like cell phone tower trace of every phone call in the area, and one of them like went back to a known felon.
This is it. I'm showing him that.
Ocean's 11 light crew use acrobatic strongmen and techies in bold jewelry heist. To more than 10 million. They used power tools, sledgehammers, jackhammers, other tools to break into 2 jewelry stores, one in Manhattan, one in Cali, both times stealing about $2 million worth of stuff, which is also kind of basic. But if the job required roof access, if the burglary crew needed somebody with a lot of strength, the ability to break through the walls, they had members of the crew who were incredibly strong. Yeah, I know. They asked me to join, but I was unavailable. I was doing another job. The Italian job. The crew included people who knew how to disable security systems, I hope so, jam cell phones, and cut phone lines that connected jewelry stores with security companies. Besides the jewelry heists in New York and Los Angeles, the crew had also linked to burglaries in Portland. I feel like now you can just rob anything in Portland, they'll say thank you. Kansas City, Beverly Hills, also in Beverly Hills, thank you so much. It's yours. And Frankfurt, that's awesome. They're international. After Pezjinovich was arrested, investigators said they found evidence of plans for future crimes, including research on diamond dealers in Belgium and Switzerland, police scanners frequencies in Amsterdam, and a diamond workshop in Ohio. After he pleaded not guilty, Pezjinovich was ordered held without bond. He was due back on court November 2nd. 2 associates, Gizmi Bolshokovich and Adrian Fisicue, also pleaded not guilty and were held without bond. Well, we got to find out where they are right now. This is 2018. Were they found guilty? Pezjinovich. Diamonds.
I just think I want like more Batman like crimes like this.
Sentenced to 8 years. 8 years. That's nothing. 8 years for 13 million? He's gonna get out in 6. He was raised in the Bronx. He was living in a multi-million-dollar townhouse in the Tony West Village before his 2018 bust. I love this. This is why New York's the shit, man. Like this, like high quality people like this guy. You know, it's like all sorts of people.
A little jewelry. It reminds me.
Everyone has their hustle, man. I respect that. I respect it. You know, I respect the hustle. You don't hurt other people. You went after it. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know.
All right, let's I'm sitting up and I'm tired. So
All right.
it's fun.
All right, no, but I hope he gets out soon. So I don't know.
I need to kick Bubby out of my spot.
So my friend who's getting married can maybe buy a diamond from him, and I get fucked over by the jeweler. Probably be nice. If you knew this guy and you were friends with him, he'd probably give you a great diamond. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
DWA, go to deplorar.com for WA merch. Patreon.com/thebinbin for all DWA stuff. Please support the show. We love you. If you are interested in trying new dog food, my dog likes Nulo a lot. Mm-hmm. My cats that were eaten by coyotes like Nulo a lot. So there's something about Nulo that's trans species, which we're very pro-trans here, sort of, and we're abortion-wise, we're all about third trimester abortions. We really want to promote those because those are the ones that that help with the organ harvesting community that we're invested in at DWA, and we really would like to push and promote third trimester abortion. So don't wait a little bit longer, and we can support our organ harvesting community.
What is that?
A little bit longer.
Isn't there like a South Park episode where they have it's like stem cell research and they just suck like like with a straw like fetuses? It's a hilarious episode.
I mean,
it's all like these elite people like, I need it.
Yeah. George Soros is invested in organ harvesting. It's disgusting. I was kidding, people. It's late. Yeah. But have a good one. I'll see you next week. Stay fabulous. Been out.